coming to you from an unknown location, at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, bringing you the unknown. Welcome to another spine-tingling episode of Paranormal 411. Your hosts are David Reagan and Jason Scott, and together, they dive headfirst into the mysteries that lurk just beyond our understanding, featuring notable experts ready to share their insights into the world of the strange and unknown. So pull up a chair, pour a cup of something warm, and prepare to be enthralled. Here at Paranormal 411, we're not just a radio show, we're a community of truth seekers, adventurers of the mind, exploring the boundaries of the known and unknown. We invite you to join us, to share your thoughts, your experiences, your questions. Whether you've had your own encounter with the supernatural or you're simply intrigued by the inexplicable, we want to hear from you. So, don't be shy. Drop a comment and let's unravel the mysteries of the universe together. Buckle up as we journey beyond the veil of the ordinary, into the heart of the extraordinary. This is Paranormal 411, where the inexplicable meets reality and imagination takes flight. Stay tuned and remember, in the world of the paranormal, nothing is as it seems.
All right.
Welcome everybody.
Welcome. We are just a few minutes late.
Yes, that's
10
exactly what I was
minutes.
about to say.
We had some trouble with the program, so that's why we're on Stramyard tonight.
We had to change in the last few minutes, but it's all right. We're here. We've got a great show lined up tonight.
Yes.
Always love talking to Constance and everything, so it's going to be fun.
Constance Victoria Briggs. She's going to be
Yes.
talking about her book, Earth's Galactic History.
Yes.
And she's wrote quite a few books.
Yes, she has.
And we always love talking to her.
Yeah, and she's full of knowledge.
I think
Tons
this
of
might
it.
be the third time she's been on the show.
Second time, I think. But we
Maybe.
did a show one time, and she was in the chat room chatting with us.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was fun.
What's up, Homestead Trucker? How
All the
you
way
doing
out
tonight?
in Laurel, Montana. Look
Laurel,
at that.
Montana.
Remember, you can find us at paranormal411.org, Paranormal 411 on Facebook, YouTube, and X. We are live every Tuesday and Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also from Saturdays from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Remember, also on Saturdays from 10 to 11, we are on WDJY FM. That's out of Metro Atlanta. That is 99.1 FM. And if you want to listen to that show and you're not in the Metro Atlanta area, you can just go to WDJYFM.com or you go over to paranormal411.org and click the link. Remember, I have to reach for it, because we don't have it on this one. Got a book, East Tennessee Hauntings and Lore. It's a good little book. It's a second edition. It is available on Amazon or at paranormal411.org. Join us.
Yes, join us.
Join us.
So, like we said, we got a great show. We got Constance Victoria Briggs. She's going to be coming on. She is an author, researcher, and public speaker specializing in the cosmic mysteries.
I want to ask her about that before we get started.
Yeah. Including galactic and moon mysteries, ancient astronauts, extraterrestrials, angels, and the unseen world. She is the author of Earth's Galactic History and its extraterrestrial connection, the moon's galactic history, which is a look at the moon's extraterrestrial past and its connection to Earth. She's also been featured on Coast to Coast with George Norrie and Fade to Black with Jimmy Church. And I'm going to go ahead and bring her on.
She's been everywhere.
Been everywhere. Hello, Constance.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Doing good.
Doing good. How
Doing
about
good.
you?
I'm fine. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be back on your show. You guys are so nice.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I was telling my husband what great host you are,
Thank you very much.
We try just to be ourselves and just have
Yes.
a conversation with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you for that. Thank you for being great.
Well, we like to say that it's not our show, it's our guest's show.
Yeah.
That's the way it
This
is.
is for you to get out to
Yep.
what you need to get out to everybody.
I did want to ask you a question though. When he was reading your bio and stuff there, you
Yeah.
do public speaking.
Mhm.
Jason and I in January, for the first time, have been asked to do a public speaking engagement. How was that your first time you ever did it? Was you nervous?
Yes. Yes. And, there's public speaking in person, live, and there's public speaking, these days since the pandemic, there's a lot of it online. And
Right.
I feel like one is just as bad as the other because, you are really having to give a talk, right?
Yes.
But my advice to you, because, I researched all of this, what is the best way to do it? There's just no way you can memorize it, I think, a talk for an hour. They're usually 30 minutes to an hour, right? I don't know what
Yep.
yours is.
About an
Use your
hour.
notes. Use the podium and use your notes. Read if you have to. It's
Okay.
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 It's okay to read from notes. It comes across better. Because I wanted to be, all professional, if you will, and look at people in the eye and all of this, but you lose your thoughts. You get
Okay.
nervous. So look down, look up. In fact, I'll be doing that tonight just on this podcast. Look down, look up, use your notes. That's my advice. You will get nervous. I sing a little bit too. And I have to tell you, being in front of an audience, that first time I was singing, it had been many, many, many years. There were a bunch of us backstage taking Pepto. So, keep some Pepto on hand. It helps.
You're not going to believe this, but before the show, before I sent you the link, me and David was karaoke, and it was funny.
Down here partying.
But I just want to say too, have fun, enjoy
Oh.
it, enjoy the talk, the speech or presentation you're giving, and just be prepared. You'll get through it. And once you're done with the first time, it does get better. So
it's in January and I'm already like sweating.
Yeah. Hopefully we can use like a PowerPoint or something to.
yeah.
They'll allow us to do
Yeah.
laptop and put it up so
Yeah.
we could have it up on the screen. So
And it's two of you. That makes it
Yeah.
a little better, I think. Yeah.
yes. And we'll tag each other in.
Yeah,
Tag
you
your-
have David who talks more, and I am the mute podcaster. Have you ever seen one? That's me. So we're here. We're going to talk about your book, Earth's Galactic History. So what made you decide to write it? I mean, I know you wrote the Moon's Galactic History, so
So basically, after I wrote the Moon's Galactic History, people liked it, and they had a lot of questions, and that was great. But some of the questions were like, well, Constance, we know what's going on the moon now. What's happening on Earth? What's this about all this? What's this about UFOs in the sky? What's that about? What's going on? So I, decided to write a kind of what I'm considering a primer for people who are not familiar with with the fact that Earth has been visited by extraterrestrials since the beginning of our history. All right. Yeah. The UFO thing is not new. All right.
Right.
And so I kind of, in my book, I tried to hit a lot of as many areas as I could around Earth that has been touched by extraterrestrials, past
Mhm.
and present. That's why I wrote it, to answer people's questions.
yeah.
Okay. I follow excuse me, I follow a lot of stuff because I always found the alien, topic very fascinating. Especially with how our government really likes to try to put the lid on it really quick, right? They don't want nothing getting out. And when you start looking back into old, writings, even the Bible, the Old Testament, and a lot of stuff like that, and you start seeing these chariots of fire that come down from heaven that pick people up and take them up into the heavens and all these things like that. Do you think that that's what they're describing?
Yes. I think that's what they were describing. They had no clue what they were looking at. They didn't have a word for UFOs or spaceships. They did their best.
Right.
And yes, I think that people were going up in ships from the beginning. I don't know if they came back. Some of the people in the Bible did not come back.
I think, did Enoch come back?
Enoch did come back, but it was hundreds of years later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Elijah didn't. And who knows how many other people
Elijah
were gone.
didn't. Yeah, Elijah or Elisha. Yep.
Right. Who knows how many others? I mean, we're naming two, but
Yes.
there's, tons more stories that out there that happen in ancient times. But yeah, that's what they were describing. I can't say that it was the same ET. Some of them were, some of them weren't. Maybe we'll get into that. But it's been going on for a very long time. And it didn't have to always be abductions for scientific purposes. It could have been, however they're able to do it, people who came to Earth to help humanity, who maybe left their ship or left their planet and came to Earth to help. And maybe they picked up one of theirs, and returned. It doesn't always have to be an abduction,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That makes sense. Talking about the book of Enoch or Enoch himself. If you've read the book of Enoch, it's pretty fascinating because he talks about when he went up, he talked about so and so taught me about the stars, and so taught me about this, and so taught me about this, and names all these people and all the things that they taught him while he was gone. And so it seems to me like he was going through some kind of school.
He was going through some kind of school, and they were trying to help humanity way back when. Maybe they were giving Enoch information to bring back to us so that we would learn how to better take care of ourselves here on Earth, since they were obviously so far ahead and advanced. And I would imagine that Earth wasn't the only planet that had advanced beings trying to help them. This probably goes on whenever you've got a new planet and a new species growing.
Yes. Yeah. That makes sense to me. It does. And if I'm not mistaken, he even said that when he came back that he would have the knowledge to excuse me, to build buildings that would last time. And so, then you start thinking about some of the things like the Great Pyramids and even some of these older structures, Göbekli Tepe or even things like that, when you hear about stuff like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
and Enoch wasn't the only one. As we move forward in our history, there were others, many different cultures and writers who talked about people that came from the stars that came to Earth to help, and they taught them how to farm, and they taught them how to be medicine, and how to be healthy, and how to live and have cleanliness. I don't know if it were the same beings, of course, that Enoch saw, but this idea is in many stories around the world from the beginning of people who came down and taught humanity how to exist on Earth.
Yeah. So your book talks about the beginning of humanity, and maybe it's alien or extraterrestrial connection. Can you guide us through that?
Yeah. So I believe, there's a possibility that we are living in a world that was terraformed by extraterrestrials. If you listen to the scientists today, they will tell you they don't know how life started on Earth. Excuse me. And I talk about it in my book. They have theories, of course, but they really don't know. And one of the scientists has stated that is a problem for them. They can't tell you. So I think that as a world society, we should be trying to find answers because there's so many bizarre things going on that we haven't been told, right? So we
Yes.
find out they don't have the answers as to how we came to be or how life, any life, a blade of grass, whatever came to be, that maybe it wasn't evolved from the ocean, right? That maybe something else happened. So I suggest that we talk about it. One idea is that the earth may have been terraformed by advanced beings
Yeah.
that had that technology. I talk about, it being a dead world and them using some sort of science and technology and came in here and, made a dead planet, gave it the ability to grow life. I use the idea of the panspermia hypothesis. That is that extraterrestrials somehow seeded different planetary bodies in the galaxy and in our solar system, and through spreading the seeds around, hoping that they would land somewhere and intelligent life would grow. That's a theory. But there's also something called direct panspermia, where in the case of Earth, they just may have set their sights on Earth and sent the science and technology here just for our planet in this area of the solar system and, seeded it. So I talk about that part, that Earth may have been given life seeded by extraterrestrials.
Well, we could draw direct correlations now with that very thing because Elon Musk is talking about doing the same thing with Mars.
That's right.
And they're talking about how they could and what they could do to terraform it to where by the time we're able to send people and ships there, that it will be a world ready for human population.
Right. I talk about that in my book, and I basically said, someone else beat us to it.
Yes.
Our scientists are talking about terraforming, the moon and Mars and anywhere else they can afterward. But, when you're dealing with a universe that is, we pretty much know that now we're not alone. And the extraterrestrials can be hundreds, thousands, millions, even billions of years advanced than us. They've already figured this kind of stuff. They've already figured this stuff out, I'm sure. And so we're talking about doing the same thing. And our planet Earth could have been, like in Star Trek, they're looking at strange new worlds, right? Maybe the Earth is a strange new world to others. So I have this quote I want to read you. It's from my book. I hope I can do a little reading on this show. We've got an hour and a half. I said, it is believed that extraterrestrials could have planned everything from a breathable atmosphere to the creatures that would reside here. It has also been considered that large depositories may have been used for such a task. These depositories have been likened to a futuristic Noah's Ark. This means that extraterrestrials may have sent the seeds of life across the universe to plant life on Earth and perhaps other areas of the solar system as well. So, excuse me. Anyway, that's what I said in my book. That's what I think. I'm sure some people won't agree with it, but I think that we should keep the conversation open.
Yes. Right. And you talk about the likening it to say Noah's Ark, but that if you take it, in a different context, could be a story about how that was actually brought here and passed down. So, that's, just an older telling of how life actually did get here. So, because we don't know all the contexts of the Bible, especially the Old Testament.
Nope, we sure don't. And I can lead right into another topic with this, since we're kind of right there. I think that we are the aliens on Earth, most likely. So in my book, I give different scenarios of why I think that. but I'm only, because we have a lot to cover, I'm going to give three. I've called these the colonization from another world hypothesis 1 and colonization from another world hypothesis 2. I think that the colonization from another world hypothesis 1 is a theory that our ancestors originally came here from somewhere else. I mean, if you look at the possibility, talking about the terraforming, that the ETs terraformed the earth with life, but humanity wasn't here. All right. It still could have been lit up with life, with, everything but us. All right. It could be that we came across from another world as explorers, colonizing other planets, just as we talked about before. So that is hypothesis number 1. But hypothesis number 2 is the idea that we came here because we were running from something. Maybe humanity existed on another planet first and had to leave, who knows, for politics, because a sun was going nova or whatever. The planet was dying, but we had to leave. And Earth may have been the closest planet, or the planet that was most like where humanity originated. So there's this Dr. Elias Silver, who wrote a book. He is a chief environmental ecologist, and he wrote a book titled Humans Are Not from Earth, a scientific evaluation of the evidence. And he goes into details about how we really don't fit on Earth, that if you look at the animals, they fit here perfectly. Most of the time, they don't have problems like we do. Like, for example, he said, we humans have a difficulty with sunlight. We have a lot of diseases. We have problems during birth. We have severe back ailments. We have all kinds of things going on, whereas if you look at the animal kingdom, he said, that's not an issue. And it almost looks like, we were placed here, or we came here. And he says he believes that humans developed on a different world, then were later brought here sometime during the last 60,000 to 200,000 years, that we don't fit on Earth.
And that would lead to also, the hypothesis that's out there for us having an amnesia, us not really knowing our own history, past what we have written, we really don't know.
That's right. And I think that I think we have forgotten. And honestly, I think that we knew coming in, however we came to be here. I think we knew coming in, but things happened along the way. For example, there have been many catastrophes on Earth, and information could have been lost. People who knew things died. They tried to pass down information. Some cultures pass down information orally. Some wrote it down. But there's been so many destructions and so many wars and so many problems that we lost the information. I think that, and I talk about this too in the book, the Alexandria Library, or the Library of Alexandria, was full of information. I mean, those people back then, if you visited the area, you were required to relinquish your book so that they could copy it if you had books on you, and visitors came in, so that they could copy it and put it in the library. That library, I bet that a lot of information about our past was destroyed, and it may have had our ET connection written in there too, and we just don't know the details anymore. But I also think that all is not lost. I think that we have quite a bit of evidence on Earth today in the form of writings like the Book of Enoch and more, from cave drawings on the walls to Egyptian scrolls. I think we have information letting us know that something happened, and that, we were not alone from the beginning. Of course, we also know the story of the Anunnaki. That could have been a thing. There could have been, someone who tampered once we got here with our DNA and created upgraded us even, but that's another story. Anyway, there
I
was
was
another thing. Sorry.
I was just going to ask you about the Anunnaki because that was on my mind when you were talking about that. And go ahead. I'm just
Thinking out
blabbing,
loud.
thinking.
Yeah, I mean, the Anunnaki, I think there was someone else here when the Anunnaki arrived. And the story is that they used primates and their DNA to
Mhm.
upgrade the primates and created humanity. So
Now-
that is a story.
Have you ever heard this? Because we've come across this quite a bit in our research and stuff. So they've had a lot of DNA stuff where they've been trying to find the DNA for Bigfoot, right, for a long time. Excuse me. And they keep having a problem because on the mitochondrial side or the female side, they find human every time. And then on the male side, they always find unknown primate. And so they're always like, oh, it's contaminated. It's no good. It's contaminated, right? But it's been brought up to us by a couple of Bigfoot researchers and stuff in the past, and it's made me think ever since. But what if they were the first people here, or the first beings here, and we were created out of them? That's why they don't have female human DNA. We have half of their female DNA in us,
Wow. No, I don't know much about Bigfoot. I know some things, but I didn't know that part of it.
Yeah.
Wow. How
Yeah.
interesting.
Yes.
You,
Yeah.
there is talk about there being experiments from the beginning, not just from the Anunnaki. All right, that there were others. I think we've been visited and are being visited by more than one group, but yeah, they were running experiments. And some of the things that we saw from history, like what are they called? A minotaur, the half horse, half human, and all of these things back then were experiments. And I don't know if Bigfoot falls under that category. Also, there's word that maybe that's going on today, and that may be where the what are they called? I'm forgetting. Are they called Wolfman?
Yes.
You guys would know that they could be. What are they called?
Dogman.
Dogman. Thank you. That they could be an experiment. There have been experiments apparently from the beginning until now, and I have to tell you, I don't know if you've ever heard this before. Bigfoots or a creature like a Bigfoot may be inside inner Earth.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's a different creature, a Bigfoot creature, or if there, is some experiment going on down there, which I probably just opened a whole can of worms with the whole inner Earth thing, just throwing that out there. But I heard that there are some like that down there. Yeah.
Well, you have that in your book, though, don't you? About the ETs that's located in the Earth.
I talk about that. Yeah.
I
talk about some of it.
The hollow Earth or inner Earth, those theories they've really intrigued me for a long time too, because when you take Native American and in particular the Hopi tribe, they believe that during the last cataclysm, the ant people came up, got them and took them under the ground where they lived for a time to where it was okay for them to come back. And then they brought them back to the surface. And that's, in their mythology.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. Yes. And not just that. I mean, this is maybe a stretch for some, but Admiral Byrd, I don't know if you know the story of Admiral Byrd going, okay.
Yes.
The leader of that race told him that there have been catastrophes that, were on the surface and humanity had to, where it's almost wiped out each time. But they remained, but they would come up because they were inside the Earth, but they would come up each time and help, help them
See?
get back on their feet and then retreat back down there. Isn't that
See,
something?
and that is because, going back to the Hopi, they say that we're living in the fourth age now, that we've had 3 times that the earth has been destroyed and that we are now in the fourth age. So yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing. And also Plato, when Plato brought up the information on Atlantis
Yes.
in Greece, in Athens, he said that his cousin, or not cousin, it's a relative, 1,000 years before him,
Yes.
visited Egypt. And the Egyptians told his relative, "You don't know anything. You don't know what you're talking about. You guys have suffered a destruction, and we have still been here because we are in an area that was not wiped out." So the cousin Solon, Solon, visited the Egyptians to get knowledge, and he came across their library, and the library was basically saying that, Earth had problems, and there had been catastrophes, and that people were wiped out, and that they were thriving, these Egyptians, because where they were located, they weren't wiped out. And that was 1,000 years before Plato brought the information to Greece.
Yeah, and what really gets me about that, it's funny because I'm an avid listener of Jimmy Church and stuff, but he's been there and he talked about, like, one of the last times he was there, it was in the Sphinx the complex and everything right there where the Great Sphinx is and all that, and the Great Pyramid, and him being out there by himself and seeing a hole on the side that went down underneath the Sphinx. And it brings me back to Edgar Casey, right? Because Edgar Casey talked about there was a great library that rivaled the Library of Alexander underneath underneath the Sphinx. And everybody has always said there's nothing under there. There's nothing under there. But he said there is a hole that a person could fit in that goes underneath the Great Sphinx. They just won't let you in there. And is there something there? Are they hiding something from us? That makes you wonder.
Are they hiding it, or have they found everything? How far deep down could there be cities, buildings, artifacts, information that hasn't been discovered? Yes, they could be hiding, and they probably are, but there's probably more even. Wouldn't that be amazing if that ever came out?
Yes.
Now, is the Sphinx supposed to be older than the pyramids? I think.
I don't
think
know.
they've dated it because of the erosion and the water erosion that's on it.
Right. I'm trying to remember the geologist guy name that did that, but yeah, he said that it was water. They wanted to say it was wind erosion, but he said no, it's that water erosion.
It's supposed to be older, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of water, what about the oceans? I'm looking at your questions, so I'm trying to stick with them.
Okay, so you want to just jump ahead, because I had one more little point, but that's
no.
Yeah,
You do what you.
I just want to say the possibility that we may be, the other possibility is that we may be AIs. That's wild as it sounds. Created. How did I say that? I didn't say that, did I? That we may be AIs created by extraterrestrials. Of course, that kind of sounds like what the Anunnaki were doing, that they, created humanity. If the story is true, that they created humanity to be worker bees, for them. But this is kind of different. So I'm going to do a little read here. I said in my book, humanity may have been created and are a form of AI. Were humans engineered by extraterrestrials? Are we artificially intelligent beings? There is a theory that humans were created by advanced ET engineers that hold complex artificial intelligence technology and the capability of tissue cloning or some other science that is outside of the present human level of understanding. An even more amazing question is, Could humans have been AIs that became self-aware and were later given free will? It kind of sounds like the Anunnaki. We had to fight for our free will from them. But could we have been a kind of biological, artificial intelligence that became self-aware? That is one theory of how we may have come to be. I know it's a stretch, but like I said, I think it's important to talk.
If you think about it, what could make that possible is the way that humanity is almost pushed to strive for that next thing, right? And it's mechanical. It's always doing better, always creating more, always getting to that next thing. And would that be what something that itself was built in that same way would be almost programmed to in turn do the same thing again?
Yes. So those ETs reached some sort of creator status, and now we're doing the same, right?
Yep. Yes. Yep.
Very
Absolutely.
interesting. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just wanted to throw that theory in there.
I like it. I like it. So do you think, and I mean, we get a lot of, like Jason was saying, a lot of our military men and women see a lot of things on the oceans, a lot of USOs, submerged, UFOs and stuff. And do you think that they could be possibly bases or living under the water?
So, that's my most favorite chapter of this book. In fact, I'm writing a book on this topic. I couldn't put everything in this chapter, right? The chapter 4, the oceans, Earth's final frontier. I wrote that chapter before the other chapters because I love this subject. I think there's a couple of things going on down there. I think we have extraterrestrials down there and what I call intraterrestrials. So the intraterrestrials would be beings that exist there and have been evolving alongside us. I believe there is an intraterrestrial civilization down there. But putting them aside, I also believe there are extraterrestrials that have come in that are down there. So basically, the idea, I was just doing this today, trying to trace back to how far the idea of extraterrestrials being in our waters go back. Right now, I've only gotten as far back as Christopher Columbus, but I'm trying to go further and see what I come up with in my research. Christopher Columbus. Sorry,
I was going to say probably what you was just about to say. He had an amazing encounter that he wrote down.
Are you talking about the stars or the mermaids?
Yes, and he also wrote down where a ball of light came out of the water and came up above the ship and then went off.
Right. So he saw what he calls lights, and he may have referred to them as stars, maybe not, but lots of lights. All the crewmen on all 3 of those ships saw these things, right? They saw them moving, they saw them come up, they saw them go down under the water. And so we know at the very minimum that something was going on as far back as Christopher Columbus, but I'm trying to find out what was seen even before then to kind of try to see how long they've been around. But there is something going on. And guys, I have to tell you, it just blows my mind. I mean, I've studied the moon. People are somebody is on the moon, right? And so now we're here on Earth looking and doing the research. There's someone in the skies, there's someone in the earth, and there's someone in the waters. They have, and they're seen a lot. In my book, I put UFO/USO, underwater submerged objects. I put the hot spots around the world that they have been seen in. So nobody
Wow.
can say this isn't true. There have been
Right.
people standing on beaches seeing lights or
Yeah.
seeing movement under the water. There have been people on cruise ships and naval ships seeing things on radar of things under the water, and not just the radar, but lights when people are on cruise ships moving beneath them. They aren't even trying to hide themselves.
Yes. Yeah. And even, the submarines have had things that went by them so fast that they were like, it's impossible. Our physics says you can't move that fast in this
Right.
medium, but they can, obviously.
They
Um,
can, and
Go ahead.
sorry, people
No,
have
go ahead.
seen them, leaving the water. I mean, I don't mean Christopher Columbus time. I mean, right now, people are
Yes.
seeing these things leaving the water and
Yep.
flying into space, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I believe that they came in. Now,
Mhm.
are they extraterrestrials that came in from a water planet, and, made their home here? Are they beings here watching humanity? I mean, we always think they're watching humanity. I mean, we have a big ego, I guess.
Yeah.
Humanity, they could just be watching something else, right? But
Right.
they know we can't get to them down there, right? We can't get
Mhm.
all the way down there. And if they have that technology, they can. But I've got to tell you a story. I know you wanted to say something, so before I start talking again, did you have a
Oh,
question,
no,
Jason?
all I was going to say was, Jason, did you have one? I'm sorry.
Not really. I was just going to talk about the movie Abyss. Have you seen it?
Ah,
That I don't know why I'm drawn to stuff like that. Maybe it's just in the DNA to be drawn to stuff like that because it's really interesting. I
Right.
mean, it's a movie, but it could be true.
so I love that movie. I just watched it again a couple of months ago. It had been a long time because I am, writing this new book. One of the best movies I've ever seen. I don't think people, especially like, this new generation, they haven't seen it. It is
Right.
amazing. And I do believe that one of the ways we are learning and growing into the knowledge of not being alone in the universe is through our science fiction.
Mhm.
People, they would never imagine that extraterrestrials can be having an influence on our lives through our media and in our thoughts and channeling information, and then making it materialize so that we can prepare ourselves for their
Yep.
arrival, right? So
Yes.
the thing is, I think that reaches very close to home, that movie. If you haven't seen The Abyss, there was an amazing civilization in the depths of the, I don't know, remember what ocean it was. But there is a story, guys, I have to tell you, which inspired my whole deep dive into this area. So there was a woman who went on social media, and she said that she worked for a government agency where they had to keep track of marine life. And these whales, several beached whales, they had to go and look at. And when they got there, they examined them and they saw that they had holes in them. And it looked like, she said, someone had taken a kind of laser-like tool and cut into the sides of these whales and pulled out, like, what kind of, I'll say, a cylinder of meat, kind of pulled out the meat. Someone, it looks like, was eating whale meat, right? And it wasn't the locals. She said they got there, before the locals were all over them, and they were kept back and all of the stuff, that the locals didn't do this. So that discovery of these beached whales sparked an investigation. So they called in special equipment. I can't remember the name of it, but you can order special equipment to look at the ocean depths around you as far as we can go. And so they sent in a submersible to check to see what was going on, and they found humanoid creatures down there.
Hmm.
All right. And she said these things, these, I don't want to say things, I don't want to say creatures. It's just not respectful, right? These beings were down there, and they were humanoid, and they were not like a mermaid or something. They were in a kind of a suit. And she said that they didn't swim like fish or like humans, that they had very quick, jerky motions, and they moved like nothing they had seen. They were very fast. And I tell you what else she said. They had a weapon, and she said they fired that weapon on that submersible. You know, we wonder if it was because they were didn't want to be filmed or whatever, but they fired and damaged the submersible. And she said not only did they find that, but they found vehicles, and there are habitats. All right.
Wow.
Now, she gave her name, and I don't remember it now, and I don't think I would ever say it, even though it's out there. And I did try to get in touch with her, and I couldn't, and I don't blame her for not answering. So I can't prove the story. But the reason I believe the story is because of all the detail. And if you read my book, you can read a little bit more of the detail. I found that fascinating. And she said, we're not alone. And she said that these habitats are around the world. All right. And that, you know, some of the governments, I guess, know about them. All right. But the reason I believe it is because a story had come out of Russia in their declassified UFO files. They kind of beat us to that. They have released a lot of their stuff, right? And you know, I liken it to what is now a very famous story that the Russians released about the Russian Navy people were training, you know, in Lake Baikal, I guess that's how you pronounce it, and they came across extraterrestrials. Do you guys know this story?
No, I don't think
haven't
I've heard this one. No.
Okay, they came across these beings in the water. They were humanoid, and they were training down there. Not the beings, but these guys were, and they came out. They were startled. They came out. They told their superior what was going on. The superior told them to go back down there and, you know, try to capture one. These beings had on some kind of suit as well, but when they did go after them, the beings were able to propel them out of the ocean, the deep ocean, and they didn't decompress. And 3 of them died, and a couple of more have life injuries. I guess they're not, can't use they might be crippled or something. I'm not sure. But
Wow.
yeah, so when I think about this story in a declassified file of the Russians, and I don't believe the Russians lie, right, about these things, it makes me think of this other story. Could it be the same beings, guys?
Right.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be.
And I'm, you know, I wonder too, because it was funny before World War II, they were starting to map the ocean floors. And just before World War II started up, the U.S. government put a halt to all mapping of the ocean bottoms. And I'm wondering if a lot of that was because they knew what was down there and didn't want it to be mapped.
Maybe. I think they know a lot. They have to know a lot. They've got, you know, they've got the Navy out there. They're seeing stuff all the time, and they're hiding some stuff, but some stuff is slipping through, obviously. I mean, I have stories here of things that have been seen on radar and testimonies from people from, you know, many years ago up until today of things that they've seen. So if I know it, I'm just sitting in my little house here. You know that they know, right?
Yeah.
Why they cover this stuff up, I'm not so sure, unless they don't want to scare people, but I haven't heard any stories of people being attacked except for when they these beings, or these sea people, I don't know, were trying to protect themselves.
mermaids.
Atlanteans.
Hey, there was a story. It was a military ship. It was on the History Channel or one of those channels, but they seen something. It was off the coast of California. They seen something come up out of the water, and they was doing some kind of drill with it. I mean, they were working with this thing. And I just can't remember. I wish I could remember the actual ship and story, but I do remember that part. That the military was working with this USO.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Also, another fact that Lou Elizondo is going to be before Congress on the 14th of this month.
Is he?
Yes.
Oh, no, that's interesting.
Is that the 13th or 14th?
I thought it was the 14th. It may be the 13th.
Yeah.
But I know it's this month.
Yep. So I have a weird idea here, and I know it's a stretch, but there is an ancient story, and I'm sure you know this one, of the Dogon tribe.
Yes.
Of the who came across the Nomo. The Nomo were extraterrestrials that came from the Sirius star system and brought the Nomo information about astronomy. Brought the Dogon information about astronomy, and they had this information many years, before we modern man knew about it, right? But anyway, I'm not going to get into them as much as I want to say that the Dogon tribe saw these extraterrestrials come in and land, all right? And then they approached them and talked to them. But my question is, the last that we heard of these extraterrestrials, the Nomo, who had told the Dogon about Sirius B, and all this other stuff, that they were going into the ocean. Okay, they were able to live on the land. They were amphibious. They could live on the land and they could live in the sea. They said that they were more comfortable on land. Maybe they were, I don't remember now which they were more comfortable in. But anyway, they last saw them going into the sea. And I just wonder, did they ever leave?
Probably not.
What we looking at down there, ancestors of those guys?
Yeah.
Could they be the Nomo?
Maybe. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, really. I mean, if you think about
it. Did they stay?
Well, I think that, when it comes to stuff like that if they went down and no one saw them leave, they have to still be down there. And with our government not allowing the mapping of the ocean floors, would say that they knew something was down there that they didn't want other people to know. So therefore they stopped them from doing that.
Does that, yeah. And does that mean that they have some sort of agreement with these beings? Because the beings don't stop and talk to anybody, And the other thing is people are seeing a lot of beings now everywhere, and there have been stories of amphibious looking creatures, humanoid, on beaches and near cliffs and stuff, diving back in. They don't stop and talk though. They don't say hello. Why are they hiding? They don't like us. They're afraid of us. They don't care about us. And maybe there's a city down there, or a civilization down there, much like the abyss with lights. Obviously, they have ships. Obviously, they're advanced.
Yep.
They're down there, and maybe they just don't care about what's going on up here. They call us maybe the surface dwellers. Who knows? But I tell you what, they're coming out. People are reporting things. That's one thing. I think that maybe they want to get rid of TikTok sometime, because people, cameras are everywhere. Yes. And, they're capturing stuff. And some people will say, oh, they saw that creature, but that could have been AI. But when you're a researcher, okay, I'll give you an example. So recently there was a ship underwater that was filmed. It was a USO filmed by, I believe it was these men in Puerto Rico. And you can hear their shock in the video, and they're watching this light come towards them, and they've got it on camera. And people can say all they want to is AI, although nobody did, but people might rather say that, right? And the thing gets closer and closer to them under the water, and they're able to see this humanoid beside it, swimming beside it, right? Now, you can argue, maybe somebody created that, but I came across another story from many years ago of the same kind of thing that was seen before AI was a thing. So I kind of suspect sometime that all these cameras out there now are getting these beings and creatures and things on film, and maybe that's why they'd like to do away with some of this social media.
Right. Or at least lock it down like they keep trying to do, right?
I don't know why they want to cover this up. I find it all fascinating. I would love to get down there and go down there and see what's going on, myself. Doesn't scare me at all to know that we are being visited. There's someone in our oceans. There's someone on the moon, and there's someone in our Earth, which I can get to too.
Absolutely.
Ooh, yeah. Let's do that after the break, though. We're going to take a quick break so you can wet your whistle or whatever you want to do. We usually take one about an hour in. So
awesome.
Is that okay with you?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to put you back off the screen for just about 4 minutes.
So we're going to take a quick break. Remember, we are talking to Constance Victoria Briggs, and we're talking about her book, Earth's Galactic History. And we will be back right after this quick break.
Oh, yeah.
In the heart of Madisonville, Tennessee, lies a pizzeria like no other. Step through the door of Legends and Lore Pizzeria and be transported to a realm where paranormal and cryptid encounters along with mouth-watering pizza go hand in hand. Meet Eddie and his crew, who serve up slices of the supernatural along with the best pies in town. With the walls adorned with eerie artifacts, indulge in piping hot slices that melt in your mouth and tease your taste buds. And it's not just the locals who love the incredible pizza. Legends and Lore has been selected as the best pizza joint in all of Monroe County. As lovers of everything pizza and the paranormal, the owners have mastered the art of crafting unforgettable combinations that will leave you wanting more. To stay connected with this mystical eatery, follow Legends and Lore Pizzeria on Facebook, where tales of their latest creations and upcoming specials will be shared. Make sure to browse their custom menu, featuring legendary pizzas like the Chupacabra Ranch and the Exorcist. So, whether you have an appetite for the supernatural or simply seek the best pizza in town, Legends and Lore is the place to be. Come for the unforgettable flavors, stay for the captivating stories, and find yourself in a world where legends and pizza collide.
What if the world we know is merely a fraction of reality? What if there are forces, entities, and phenomena that exist just beyond our comprehension in the shadows of the unknown? Welcome to Paranormal 411, your gateway to the unexplained and the downright chilling.
Get ready to rock with the electrifying sound of Catalyst, a band that's sure to leave you wanting more. With their powerful lyrics and killer riffs, Catalyst is a great sound in the world of rock music. You can listen and find Catalyst on Bandcamp, or go to the link at paranormal411.org and click on their banner.
right.
All right. Did you see that? Headphones on right on time.
That was perfect, wasn't it? Hey, that's our good friends, Catalyst East Tennessee. We want to thank them for allowing us to play their music. You definitely catch them on Bandcamp, or you could go to paranormal411.org, and they do have a link there. Click it. We've got all kinds of good music.
So if you're just joining us, we're talking to Constance Victoria Briggs about Earth's galactic history.
Yes. Having a fantastic conversation.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
having fun.
So we were going to go into something else. I forgot. What was it? She knows.
You
I'm not the host.
I was running to the bathroom. I was running here, running there, and I've done forgot. what we were talking
I think we're going to go into. I think we're going to go into the Hollow Earth.
Yes.
Hollow Earth.
Yes.
Yeah, see?
Sorry.
That's why we have you.
It was a quick trip to the bathroom and everywhere else.
And he lost more than
I
just
lost
his
my
brain.
in there.
Yeah. That's funny. So the Hollow Earth, yes. I've always liked it. Thinking about the fact that the Earth is hollow. I mean, we had back in the day some TV shows on it.
Yeah.
One of Jason's favorite shows.
Oh, my favorite one was Land of the Lost.
Yeah, Land of the Lost. Yeah.
Yeah, it was back in 1977, I think.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
all right.
Now, do you think that the Hollow Earth is just that it's the inside of the Earth is hollow, and there is a advanced civilization, or just a civilization that lives in there, like you said earlier, that doesn't just hasn't been bothered to be wiped out by all these cataclysms we get on the surface?
Yeah. Oh my God. So I'm trying to figure out where to even begin. It gets a little bit complicated. Yeah, I think there are huge cavities in our Earth.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There is something going on beneath our feet. I know it sounds crazy. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to read the research. Okay. Yep. So now scientists have discovered water in the Earth. All right. And it's so much of it. And it's even more than they're saying than we find on the surface up here. Right. And so where there's water, there's life, it is said. Yes. Mm-hmm. And also, from what they can tell from their sciencey stuff, because I'm not a scientist, but, however they do it, they were able to figure out that there are caverns down there. There are plains, like grassy, what we would call a grassy plain, or areas of open space down there. And so that's what our modern day scientists, who are not a part of this whole conversation, have found. I've just kind of brought them in because people don't know that. They're not aware that there's water inside the Earth, that there are mountains. There are mountains inside the Earth. All right. And some of them are larger than our largest mountain here. We cannot even begin to imagine such a thing because we haven't been taught. All right. So we have to open our minds that science isn't lying, and they're not trying to cover that up. All right. But what's even more interesting is that there have been a couple of scenarios where people have said that they've seen the inner Earth and lived to tell about it. Now, we all know the story of Admiral Richard Byrd, who did go inside of the inner Earth and came to tell us what he saw, which was a civilization. And he spoke to a man who was the leader, and the man told him they've been there for thousands of years, and I don't even know if it was millions. I apologize. And they've been growing and progressing and developing while we on the surface have been dying from catastrophes. So that's a story. There's another gentleman, I have it in my book, who he and a team went to Inner Earth, said he went to Inner Earth, and he met people that go back, they said, as far as, our ancient times. There's another scenario where someone went into, oh, wait, it's the same story. So those people told him that when they went inside Earth millions, I guess it's millions of years ago now, there was already technology there. They found it there, but no one was there. So whatever happened to those original people that had advanced technology, they were gone. But these people found it when they went. Yeah, very interesting stuff. So what I think is going on as far as the Earth, I think that we have a civilization of people that have been developing aside humanity. Maybe they went in when there was a catastrophe and stayed and grew. But there are also maybe extraterrestrials as well who have gone in, for whatever reason. Maybe the same argument applies with extraterrestrials colonizing the surface of Earth. Remember, I said, we could be ETs from another world that were escaping a planet. Maybe the sun was dying or something. Those same people could have also gone inside of Earth, some of them. All right. Or we could have had a whole other civilization that went down there before humanity was even here.
Yep.
Okay. From outer space. Now, what's interesting is it seems that this hollow world thing is prevalent in our solar system and maybe our galaxy, because we've talked about the moon being hollow. It is believed that there is a civilization inside of the moon. There's also thought to be a civilization in Mars's moon, Phobos. All right, something, or a base at least going on. Oh, I just want to go back. I didn't don't know if I answered your question about the oceans. Yeah, I think there are ET bases in the oceans as well as the civilization. And anyway, but I think that, so Mars is said to have crevices, and there may be people in there as well. Venus, Phobos, and who knows what else. There could be asteroids that have, civilizations inside or people inside. They don't have to be huge, not as big as Earth, for people to be based there or living there or working there from other worlds. The whole thing is, we are not alone in the universe, but we are naive or ignorant. We're ignorant to the fact that we're not alone. So all of this sounds so wild for us because we haven't been taught, whereas there are beings out there that know we exist, that are waiting for us to grow up, to become a part of the galactic community, like so many of them did. They had to start somewhere too. And I think that what we're seeing on Earth today, as far as the non-acceptance of the idea that we're not alone in the universe, is simply growing pains of just beginning to understand and learn this information. There was going to be pushback, right? There was going to be growing pains to say, oh, we're not ready. We can't give up our religion. It's going to affect the economy. This has probably been going on for every new civilization on every world that ever was. It is wild to imagine that I'm talking about there being people on the moon, people under the ocean, and people in the earth. But I didn't make it up. I've written books. There's so much information on it out there that books are being written. And it is just mind-boggling. If we know this, then what else is out there? Who else is out there? And how much more that we don't know?
Right. Yep.
Well, they are, a lot of religions have their own version of the hollow earth. You got the Greeks that believed in Hades. The people of Mesopotamia believe that the man journeyed beneath a mountain and entered an underground garden. Then you got the Tibetan Buddhist. They believe in the underground realm, and the Hindu epics. They depict that a world is at the center of the earth. So you got a lot of religions that say the same thing.
Yeah, obviously there's something to it. And like I said, there have been people that have gone down and learned to live to talk about it. In my book, I have stories of the story of one man who went down with his team, and he talked about what he found. And also, there apparently are openings around the earth to the inner world. People don't know them. A lot of them, I mean, they're hidden, and people don't go look for an opening to an inner world, right? But there have been a couple of places where beings have been seen that are humanoid but not human. There was this one place where reptilians were seen, and there was another area that was I think some school children went in, and I've heard two versions of this. One of the children disappeared, and then the other version is that several of the children disappeared, never to be seen again. They were exploring a cave, and they were never to be seen again, and they closed that up. And so, I mean, who knows what happened? Hopefully, it was all good, but yeah, so beings have been seen. There have been rumors of giants being seen in one cave. And where were they coming from and where were they going? Probably deep inside the earth. There have been stories of people, the one man who visited and came and told about it and then went back, saw different creatures down there, and he saw a Bigfoot kind of creature was one of them. So, yeah, and I think sometimes that when we hear about strange beings or cryptids, maybe we're seeing something that's come up.
Yep.
That's the theory.
And Mount Rainier has a lot of stories of beings going in and out, and even UFOs going in and out of that mountain. And when you talk about the, other things coming up, like, maybe Bigfoot lives down there or other cryptids. I remember hearing a story. I'm trying to remember exactly when it was set, but I think it was in the 1800s, if I'm not mistaken. And it was in the frontiers of Alaska that some Inuit had brought in ivory from tusks of a woolly mammoth, but they were fresh keel. They actually had blood on them and everything, fresh blood on them. And the person who they sold them to, because they was trading with a trader with them, and he asked where they had got them, and they said that they had killed the creature that they belonged to. And so who's to say that these things don't still exist, just not up here on our surface planet, surface of the planet.
Right. You're right.
Because they were supposed to be extinct way before then.
Yeah. Didn't Admiral Byrd say that he saw something like that when he was flying over and he saw them graze? I don't want to say grazing or walking or eating. I don't know what they were doing. He saw, yeah.
Yes. Herds of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He sure did. Yeah,
wild stuff.
It's pretty neat. I mean, to me, when you start talking about the inner earth, but then you start going into stuff like you was, right? And in our last show, the hollow moon and all these other things, it almost makes you believe that, this is also a way for these beings to maybe keep an eye on us, but stay hidden.
Yeah.
Possibly. Maybe. What do you think about that?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
I'm sorry. You're looking at Jason.
Well, I'm looking at you because that's where the screen is.
I'm sorry. Can
Yeah.
you repeat the question? I was waiting for him to answer you.
It would have been nice for him to answer me too, but no.
I didn't know if you were asking me, but
No, I was saying that, with this Hollow Earth thing, but with our last show that you did with us,
Yeah.
we talked about Hollow Moon and all that stuff too. So do you think that is a possibility that those exist, the Hollow Earth and the Hollow Moon, for these beings to be able to watch us, but watch us in secret?
Yes and no. I think that what we're looking at is someone's home. All right. And that's where they, live, and that they were not there to watch us originally. They may, since at least the ones on the moon, since they have advanced technology, may be watching us now to see what we're doing, because we are advancing. All right. And they, I believe, were there watching the space program, but I don't think they were there for that, necessarily for that purpose. I believe they lived there, and they may be doing this as a result of watching us to see if we're coming there, which we did, and what's going to happen next. All right.
Right.
Or there could be two scenarios there, because we don't know who's up there. It could be a group of people living on the moon that came in with the moon, because I believe the moon wasn't always there. It came in, and but other ETs could have joined on the moon and have put bases there. And there may be more than one group there now that did come in to watch us, and perhaps the people on the moon and other areas of the solar system. There is a thought that the moon is has a reconnaissance base where they are sending out information about the planets here and the beings here, including humanity, to other areas of the solar system or galaxy. And it could be that they're reporting back to the original planet seeders. All right. Too. As far as Earth goes, I believe again that there are what I call them extraterrestrials, the people who are the beings and people that live there, that have been living there and evolving next to us, the whole time. They're kind of like extraterrestrials because they're so different than we are. And, and their civilization. So I believe there are those that have been there, but I do believe, like the moon, there may be some that have come in either to colonize because they needed somewhere to go, or because using it as a place, yes, to watch humanity. Humanity is being watched, it's my understanding, because of our behavior. So there are ETs right here that may have a cloaked or ships or ethereal ships that are watching us, because they don't want us to destroy all the life in this world, on this world. So we are being watched there. Now, we also may be watched because of, maybe they want something on Earth. Maybe they want some resources here. They have been, stories of people who have seen water being taken up into UFOs. It's not like they're hiding that. They don't hide themselves. They just don't introduce themselves. Right. So they could be, watching Earth for that. We've all heard the reports of missiles being disarmed. All right. I did in my book, I talk about ancient times and how some of the UFOs came between armies when they were battling. Right. So they have been watching us and trying to prevent us from so much destruction. But apparently they can only do but so much. I mean, they're not gods. All right. You can't just come in and tell us what to do. They have free will. We have free will. They're not allowed to interfere probably in what we do, but they do sometimes, kind of step in and try, but they're limited, it looks like. Anyway, so yes, I think some live on the moon and some are come in to watch, maybe. Or they're watching us from the moon because they don't want us up there. All of the Apollo astronauts, if you believe the Apollo missions went up, I do, were followed. All right. And beneath the waters, I guess they're watching us. They don't seem to care. They kind of mess with us. They kind of play with the submarines. They fold them and run away and have them chase them. I've read stories like that. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So do you think that, well, let me ask you this question first. It's what you talk about the cosmic freeway. Can you tell us about that?
So I try to come up with how is it that these ships are getting here? Unfortunately, mainstream science says, there's no one. Never mind that like I said, we see things all the time. They still say there's no one coming here. I don't know how they're doing that. They've got Congress talking about it, and they're still saying, they can't be coming here because, space is too vast to come across to get to Earth. Nobody can get here. Well, they're here. So how did they do it? Right.
Yeah.
So I think whomever these beings are have the wormhole Stargate technology, and I'm not a scientist. I did look up, and try to get it and got in touch with a couple of people who know a little about the things in this area. NASA apparently is talking about humanity, although they're kind of doubtful at this point. It's like not looking real good, but, talking about us maybe one day having wormhole technology, Stargate technology to move from one area to the other and learning how to bend space and time and all of this stuff. I don't really understand, but I think that the extraterrestrials do. I think they have figured it out. If you read my book, you can understand it better than what I'm saying now because I have quoted, the scientist. So I think someone out there has learned the technology to move quickly through space, which of course would make sense if they are thousands, millions, and billions of years ahead. They've already achieved what we're talking about, so they can come and go. And not only do they do it in ships, but they do it. They were doing it in ancient times on Earth. We've got stories of people who would go, the gods, they call them, would go through doorways on Earth. They would walk through the doorways and disappear, right?
Yep.
So this has been going on for some times with ships, with portals on Earth. Someone knows how to do it. I call it the cosmic freeway. And I think, by the way, that the freeway is regulated. I don't think that beings are haphazardly just using these things. I think that someone created them and are monitoring them just like we do our freeways on Earth so they don't bump into each other or whatever they would be doing up there. But I think it is a thing, and I think that that's how they are moving about. In fact, people have seen UFOs go through what looks like an opening or a tear or rip in space. They just, go through this thing and disappear.
Yep.
That, I think, is some kind of portal. And some people say, well, it could be interdimensional. Of course it could be, but I don't know about that part of it.
Well, it's funny because Commander David Fravor talks about when he was seeing the Tic Tac, when it was going on. And he said that this thing, he came to, come above it and was looking down on it as it was on the water. And this thing was sitting here moving rapidly. And then all of a sudden it seemed like it was aware of him and came straight at him and then veered off. And it said that he said like in a blink of an eye, it was just gone. Just it wasn't there no more. And he said what was weird was that the ship itself said, hey, it's at your rendezvous point, because they had another point that they were going to go to. But now this is between them, has nothing to do with this other ship, with this Tic Tac. But somehow it knew where their rendezvous point was and went from here to there. And it was like 30 miles away in just, a second.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It's fascinating. I love it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The technology that these things have. Like I said, our government's getting to the point where they're actually starting to have hearings, and I'm hoping it actually goes somewhere. Hopefully.
Yeah. By the way, that is the 13th.
Yeah, the 13th.
Lou Elizondo.
Yep. We looked it up over break. Just to make sure.
Don't want to have the wrong date. That should be interesting, I guess.
So
Yes.
you were talking about these portals and doorways and stuff, but I remember a story about the Mayans where I don't remember what country or where it is in South America, but there's like a door.
I think it's in Peru.
Peru.
Yeah.
And I think one of the Spanish conquistadors, they were searching for the key to that door. It was like a medallion that went that fit
disc.
inside. Yeah, the sun disk.
Yep.
And the Mayans or whoever that was in Peru were talking about that was a portal to the underworld and stuff. So that's pretty interesting too.
You know, thousands of people disappear in the United States every year, right?
Mhm.
And you have to wonder where they're all going. Could these people be going through portals by accident? Or, I mean, that a portion of them, not all thousands of them, but a portion of them. I mean, I've heard stories of people coming in here and not, you know, ending up in a city somewhere and not knowing how they got there or where they are. And then, you know, they disappear. And could they have come through a portal and gone back and by accident? You know, it just makes you wonder.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, during World War II, when those, you know, they were doing that bombing run right there outside of, was it up here? It was up here. And they were going towards and over the Bermuda Triangle, and he was actually teaching some people. It was, what was that, flight 19 is what it was, yeah. And it was 6 bombers, and he was, you know, pretty much as a training mission. And they went out over, they had no Mayday was ever said, but they just disappeared. Just boom, just disappeared. Well, then the Navy sent up a plane with 6 other people on it to search for them. They immediately disappeared. And then that had one of the largest naval, you know, missions to try to find them. Never found nothing, no wreckage, nothing, not a body, not a piece of paper, not a wing. Nothing was ever found of the 7 airplanes. And I think it was something like 14 or 15 people just disappeared. Like they never even existed. And I believe that that's just that very thing, a portal. And
or the cosmic freeway, they could have hit it.
Well, yeah. And, you know, the thing is that scientists say that if it's something that math says that it could happen, we just don't have the technology to make it happen, then it can actually happen in nature without anyone else causing it to happen, right? So nature can create these things on its own. And that leads me to believe that some of our past is people from our future, you know, going and getting caught up into these pathways to the past, because, you know, I find it amazing how, and I don't want to get caught up in something like thinking that, you know, like a lot of these other people talk about, and I won't say any names, but where they try to say that our ancestors were stupid and, you know, couldn't track stars and stuff like that. Cause I mean, when you had nothing else to do and it got really dark and you didn't have the pollution and stuff we have today, you could really see the stars, you know, not like we can today. But I think that these pilots would have been trained to know the stars, because if their instruments fail, that's how they're supposed to navigate. Sun, stars, find out landmarks to find out how to get to where they're going, or to be able to set down properly. Well, the same thing happens with captains. You know, they have to know how to navigate if their instruments fail, how to navigate by the stars, by, the sun and all these things. They have to know how to do all that. Well, would that not give our civilization a boost if someone with that kind of knowledge was to go back 7,000-8,000 years ago and be looking for their home, because they wouldn't know what happened to them.
Mhm.
They would be wondering where they are. So they would be looking at the stars, and then they would be teaching other people how to look at the stars to try to find how to get back home, because they don't really realize that they really can't go back home. You know,
Wow. Yeah.
I was a
Me-
book that was in the middle of writing and have never finished. um, but that's just something that I've always theorized about. I've always thought that the ancient alien theory is decent, but this one would be even more plausible.
Hmm.
It's us. It's the future seeding the past is what I call it. So yeah, it was pretty neat.
So you're writing a book on it?
I have been for how long, Jason?
Since
4 years,
2012.
4 or 5 years, 6 years, yeah, for a long
Yeah.
time.
Well, I look forward to reading that.
It's interesting what he's got so far.
Mhm.
Really, it talks about the cultures.
Yes.
What were they
Oh,
called?
you're talking about during World War II, how they had the now you made me just
Yeah.
Oof.
Anyway, if
it's
something,
gone.
yeah,
I know the cargo cults.
yeah,
That's
the
what
cargo
they're called.
cults.
Yeah. How they worship the USGIs and stuff like that came over, and they started
Mm.
worship. You have some of those cargo cults that some of them still worship John Frum. They don't know who this John Frum is, but John Frum. He probably said, "Hey, I'm John from America," or whatever, but
Oh,
worship
wow.
him still to this day. In some of those places out in the Pacific. So, and it shows how some of these religions can start,
Mhm.
from contact with people outside of their known civilization,
Yep. You're right. Yep. I agree.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yep.
Um,
Constance, do you think that we have ETs that are living on the planet, walking with us?
I do. I mean, that's just my opinion.
mhm.
I do, because why not? All right. So you've got these beings that are concerned about planet Earth and humanity destroying life here. And according to reports, they have visited presidents, a president and governments, and said that they are concerned about our use of nuclear weapons. So, yeah, I believe that they're in the sky watching. I believe that they probably have what I call ground troops here living among us, and we would never know it. So if you go a little bit deeper into the research and you learn that there are extraterrestrial groups out there that are said to have made contact, and a number of these groups are humanoid, and some of them look very much like us, and you can walk right by them, it's my understanding, and you would not know that they were an extraterrestrial. Yeah, they may have people here that are reporting back to what's going on. That's just my thought. And I think also, given that there are so many different life forms, there may be beings that are able to be invisible and be around us. I mean, we hear about spirit guides, and us getting information, downloads from guides or from somewhere. How far away might they be? They might be standing right next to us, trying to give us information to help our planet, or to give us a piece of music, or to give us writing. That way we may think about it. Who knows? Yeah, I think that they are here without trying to really tell us what to do, but just kind of, help us along a little bit to the best that they can. I don't know. But yeah, so I also look at some of our science fiction, and I think I was watching Jupiter Ascending. I remember the name of it once. And in the beginning of that program, there were extraterrestrials that were cloaked, that were having some kind of fighting on some kind of bikes or something, running around, and the humans couldn't see them, but they were there. And I think there could be things like that going on. And then later on in that same movie, there was a visitation to people that were from outer space. Now, before people start saying that lady is crazy, it is my thought, and yeah, they might say that. But here's the thing: there are some stories that people may not be aware of out there, and I'll tell you one about a group. I believe they were referred to as the Tall Whites, and there's a gentleman by the name of Charles Hall who says that he worked with the Tall Whites. He's written several books on his experience. He worked for the military. One of his assignments was to work with these beings. He describes them. He talks about where they came from. He talks about the military base that he was assigned to, and he's very easy to track down.
Yes.
I was wondering why he wasn't in front of Congress. I just don't understand. I don't think that the left hand knows what the right hand is doing when you have someone who was in the military who can be confirmed.
Yeah.
And
Right.
he said, I was working with these beings that are on Earth. So I'm not that crazy.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
remember that story.
Funny
That
how-
was a really good story too, because wasn't he out there? And the cover of it was he was out there on a what part of the base was it? But it was way out in the desert. And he actually had these tall whites come down, and he actually got to see some of their children, and actually got to interact with them. And
Yeah, he knew them well.
yeah.
Why I want to know why why would somebody make this stuff up? Not just one person.
Right.
I don't
Hundreds.
know. I haven't heard anyone say he was lying. Honestly,
Right.
this just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's evidence of this stuff
Mhm.
happening,
Mm-hmm.
but the government doesn't want to acknowledge it.
Well, Constance just brought it up. Why is this man not in front of Congress? Why are not all these other people like Travis Walton and some of these other people who have had these abductions that are famous? I mean, there's proof that this man was missing for this many days, and there's proof that in his psychological evaluations and his medical follow-ups and everything else that things were done to him that couldn't be done to him, at that time here on Earth. So, why are these people not being, up there getting to talk, and tell what they know?
I don't think they know. Okay,
Yeah.
so we have our hands in this information all the time, right? So we know about Travis Walton, right?
Yes. Yes.
We know about the Tall Whites, but
Mhm.
I don't think that everyone on the Hill knows, because they're
Right.
going to say, "Oh, I don't believe in UFOs," and keep going. Keep going.
Yeah. 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 They don't want to be labeled crazy or kooky or anything else, I guess.
But they
So
need to look into these stories.
they do.
But they were very hesitant to look at the TikToks.
Yes,
The
they
TikToks,
were.
Tic-tac.
Tic tac.
I did get the most,
Yeah.
TikToks. I mean, they were hesitant to talk about those.
Yes.
And guys, whoever's listening, those are just the tip of the iceberg, as they say. There are
Yeah.
so many UFOs out there. I know I guess we're running out of time, but I want to say,
We got 20 minutes.
Yeah.
okay. I wanted to say about the UFOs that there are so many different types of UFOs. They can't all be coming from one group. There's more going on than Tic Tacs.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
We've got triangular ones. We've got spherical, lighted, cylinder shaped. We've got all kinds of things going on out there. We've got some that come together and break away and turn into three, or three that come together and turn into one.
Yes.
You know, there's so many. Oh,
Listener that right now, Susan, she's sent us photos, or actually videos, of around her house. Well, I think it's like once a month or once every couple weeks or something. Her and her husband has these UFOs, and they will do something like that. They'll come together and then they'll break up into multiples, and then they'll do all kinds of crazy stuff. And she's got videos of all this stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, I know someone who has made a whole film documentary about UFOs that were appearing outside of her house too. So I think that there are different groups visiting Earth. That's why I said I think some are here walking among us, living among us, and we wouldn't know it. And so that's interesting. So you'll hear them say, "Oh, somebody say, oh, the spacecraft or the UFOs, the Tic Tacs, they're white," and they think that that's it. They think that's all that's going on. That's not all that's going on. Or they'll, see pictures of the gray aliens and they think that's an extraterrestrial, where actually there are many groups of extraterrestrials and people have met them and described them. And in my book, I have a couple in history that came across, humanoid extraterrestrials, and they were not grays. So there's many different things going on. Many are coming here, but then, and people have made contact. We haven't had a mass contact, yet. We're waiting. That's what, when we talk about disclosure, the government are giving us some kind of disclosure, and then hopefully there being a first contact, meaning that as a world society, we will see ships in the sky or something, or we will have some sort of report on the news. But the truth is, people have met extraterrestrials one-on-one before, and they're out there, and the stories are out there. And so yes, if that's going on, but there are different groups. All of these UFOs are not coming from one place.
Yeah.
Yeah, that brings us to that's what this next question. Do you believe that they're like people or aliens working with the Earth, working with our government?
Go
ahead.
I've heard stories and that I can't confirm. These are just rumors that our scientists have been working with extraterrestrials, and trying to give upgrades or medications to humanity, or information to humanity. But that's just rumor. But I believe that definitely could be a thing. I think that there could be some secrecy, even secret bases going on where people are working for whatever reason with extraterrestrials.
Yeah. I know there was one base or a supposed base that they found off of California. It was in the ocean, but it looked like you've probably seen it before. It looked like a spaceship, really, but it was under the ocean, right off the coast of California.
Yeah, it looks like there's no one there to me, but who knows what's going on inside. And I can't remember off the top of my head. Hold on. Can't remember off the top of my head where that is, but I know what you are talking about. And it's still sitting there. It looks like it looks like a kind of a mushroom with legs, right?
Yeah.
Is that the one in Point Doom? Point Doom. There's one off of Malibu. Let's see, the mysterious Point Doom in the Pacific Ocean off Malibu, California. That could be the one.
Yeah, I think that was the one. They had satellite images of it.
I wish I could remember off the top of my head. I'm sorry. I have so much information going in my head, and sometimes I just kind of, don't remember locations. But that's just one place.
Yeah, there's many. And as far as the races of extraterrestrials. Can you give us anything about the reptilians? Because I think that's what's communicating with our government and what's working with the government.
Well,
Do you know?
Yeah. So reptilians are a race that I didn't want to look at for a long, long time. But unfortunately, they are a thing, I believe. I don't know if they're the ones that are working with the government. Or not, to be honest. I'm trying to remember. I mean, the ones that met with one of the presidents, I thought was more humanoid looking. That met with the president. So, but the reptilians, the story is that they were here before humanity showed up on Earth, that they've been, that they're a very old race, and they believe they own the Earth, that they have a right to it, and that some of them are here. I mean, I've read stories of people who said they saw reptilians, but we can't prove it. There were the stories that I told you about the caves, that there were reptilian humanoid looking beings. But that's it, that they would like to take over. That's the story that I've heard about the reptilians. I've also heard that there are good and bad. I don't really know, if there's some good ones or not. I did read about a story about a lady who said that she was shocked to have come across a being as she was driving. I believe it was from California to like Vegas or something along the road, and she had to stop for whatever reason, and there was this being there, but he was benevolent, and he wanted to let her know that he wasn't there to hurt her. She said he looked like a reptile. She knew nothing about this stuff, and she was just relaying an experience, and she was in shock, but he was fine. But I don't know if they're working with the government or not. I don't know that they would just peacefully work with the government, depending on which group of reptilians there are, because there are more than one.
Yep.
So do you have a specific thing you're leaning to that works with government, or just maybe
Nope.
the tall whites? No.
Tall whites were working here. I don't think that they were working with the government per se. I think they were here for something to benefit themselves, but I can't remember what Charles Hall said. And if we have scientists working with extraterrestrials, I don't know who they are. I've just seen that in passing, but I don't know what group it would be. We were approached by a group. They could have been the Galactic Federation. I don't know. Somebody else said they thought it could have been them and the Greys that approached the president and said, look, we'll give you technology if you will lay down your weapons. And the president said no. And probably wasn't just our president. It may have been others around the world. This is the story we have because we live in the U.S., right?
Right. Yeah.
But it could have been others as well. I'm sure it wasn't just our president. But I don't know actually what group that was. I just believe that they were a humanoid, very human-looking group of beings. Now, I can tell you about groups, and what one of them is a group called the Andromedans. And I find them fascinating because they have representatives, open representatives on Earth. And one of those representatives have said that this is a peaceful race of people. And they with other groups are waiting for humanity to grow up so that we will become a more peaceful race, and so that they can introduce us into the galactic community. But we just are not growing up. We're still killing each other. We're still fighting and warring. And, we could have World War III. And they did say something that I thought was very interesting and a bit alarming through their representative. They said, if we continue like this and it looks like we're going to have a world war where it's going to kill everyone, they may have to step in, that there could be consequences for that. I don't know what that means, but they're not going to allow that to happen. So, they want us to shape up so that they don't have to step in. They also said that they may have to step up first contact or first mass contact sooner if we don't change. But they said they're not going to allow us to, kill all of the life on Earth. So I find that interesting. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Wonder what they find, more valuable, us or the rest of it,
Right.
You know,
Right.
It's like, well, you can kill yourselves off. We just don't want you to kill the world off, or something.
Mm-mm. I had someone on social media get really frustrated with me once because I told her I had posted that I believe we're being protected by galactic hierarchies out there, and because asteroids have been said to have looked like they were moved away from Earth, missiles have been disarmed, and I think we have protectors. And someone said, "Oh no, extraterrestrials haven't done a darn thing for the people of Earth." But, people have to understand they're not gods.
Mm-hmm.
All
Right.
right. She was really mad. They're not gods. They're not going to she said, they haven't done anything. They're still homeless here. They're still, people starving here.
Right.
So I just want to say that, they're not gods. We're not, they would like to help, but, they were waiting for us to grow up. So.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it'll still be a long time before there's anything like a utopia. So, we don't learn our lessons well. Be many lifetimes.
I said in my book that, we need to learn to work together and be peaceful.
Mhm.
The ETs want that, but because we have a choice, we could go towards an Star Trek, what I call a Star Trek future,
Mhm.
or we could go towards more of a kind of apocalyptic future,
Mhm.
if we don't change. So that's really something to think about. Which way do we
Right.
want to go? What kind of world do we want to leave our kids? And apparently, it's not just our world. We have an effect here on what we do on the rest of the galaxy. They have said that,
Yeah.
So
Well, that makes sense too, because a lot of people have theorized that, we really started seeing a lot of them when we started exploding nuclear weapons.
mhm.
And there's a lot of theories that were thrown out there with, maybe we don't understand the repercussions. Not We see what it does physically, but we maybe not see what it does um interdimensionally or any other type of ripples or anything else that those type of explosions may cause, because there was a very big uptick in sightings of extraterrestrials after we developed the bomb.
That's right. That's right. That's when they came in and visited the governments.
Yep. Yeah.
If I remember correctly, in India, now this is with the text, the
Vedic text.
Vedic text. They
Bhagavad Gita.
believe that there was a nuclear war back then.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
signs
Yeah.
that show on the structures that were obliterated.
Yep.
And
Yeah, there's still radiation,
Yeah.
pretty high radiation in some of them.
and I don't know. I just brought that up just to say they might be coming back to prevent something like that happening again.
That's right. That's right. There's, it wasn't the first time we had nuclear weapons, and we
Right.
apparently had them in ancient times. And it may have been a planetary war kind of thing too,
Mhm.
because they have the same kind of signs on the moon. There are
Mhm.
craters on the moon that look like they were created from a nuclear blast. And I wonder if, and also Mars had life, and it looks like their life may have been destroyed from some
Mhm.
kind of war. And I wonder if the planets were in a war, the Earth, Mars, and the moon, perhaps, if not others, were in some sort of, thing, but were they fighting each other, or were they fighting someone else from out there? That's what I would like to know.
Yeah, that's
Now, is that in your book too? The battle for Earth.
Yeah, so there is an area. Gosh, yeah, the battle for Earth. I talk about that kind of war in space, but also the battle for Earth, because there's two battles going on. There may be a battle for the resources of Earth. There's someone trying to take control of Earth, like reptilians, maybe. Maybe we're being protected from any nefarious beings out there that may want to do something. I think we are under someone's protection, but there's also the battle for us to save us from ourselves.
yeah,
There can be more than one kind of battle going on.
right. I think when you talk about that, what isn't the asteroid belt believed to once been a planet possibly called Tiamat, if I'm not mistaken, something like that.
Right. Yes.
And so, they also say that, it could have been something like that caused that planet to explode and, be what we have today.
Now, is that in the Sumerian text?
Yes.
I don't
It
know.
is.
Okay.
It is part of the Sumerian text. It's they talk about how when it blew up, that's when they moved to Mars, and then they moved to Earth from there. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on out there.
There is.
And I'm glad we have Constance to research it all and tell us about it.
Yeah. Well, that makes it a lot easier, doesn't it?
Yeah. We got about 3 minutes. So what's your final message from your book? What do you want to get out to people and tell them?
So I think that people need to do their own research. We have so many books. All the books behind me are dealing with this information. That's all I have is collect, really.
Wow.
You haven't seen anything, really. I have the best library, I have to say. They're out there.
We've got a small shelf over here with maybe 20 books, 30 books.
Yeah.
We're collecting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great information. People really should do their research, because there's a lot you don't know that's going on. Most of us live in our little bubble. We're not seeing what's going on. I mean, I don't go outside much at night. I'm not seeing, the UFOs that I live near the beach. I keep saying I need to go down there and just sit at night and watch, because there's supposedly stuff going on off the coast of Southern California all the time. I'm saying that we live in our bubbles and we're not aware, but there's information to be had. Don't live in the dark. People, laugh at this stuff, and I don't know why. Even Congress is talking about it. So do your own research, gain knowledge.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. That I think is more than anything, because, we could sit here and talk until we're blue in the face, and people might be like, well, maybe, but if you go out and you actually do your own research and you actually find all this stuff for yourself, and then you could paint the picture yourself. So like you said, the information's out there.
Yeah,
there's tons of it,
especially for people living in the South of the United States, are really closed mind.
Yes.
You need to open your mind and look at the information that's out there. That's what I think.
Right. Well, it doesn't have to go against your religion.
Right.
You could take it in a different context, and a lot of people here in the South, it's where we live in the Bible Belt, and so a lot of people take things like this and they automatically go to demons, and they automatically go to a lot of other things,
The devil.
Yeah, and stuff, and there's a whole nother world past all that.
Right.
Many of them, actually. So, just do your research and keep an open mind.
Yes.
An open mind further than
Nothing
anything.
wrong with an open mind and doing research.
Yes, ma'am.
And one more thing, tell everybody where they can get your book and your websites and all that information.
Where are you going to be next? If you're going to do
Yeah,
another,
if you're going to do any speaking or anything.
yeah.
I don't have any speaking coming up until April. I mean, I'm on podcasts from time to time. I've got something coming up with Portal to Ascension, where I'll be talking about the moon. But you can get my books on Amazon. All right. And I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram under at Galactic Briggs. Facebook, Constance Victoria Briggs. I've got several pages up there. You can just go in and look for my name, and you'll find me on many of them. I'm posting all the time. Yeah. Oh, my website is constancevictoriabriggs.com. If you want to ask a question, send an email. You can reach me through that.
Awesome.
Right. Yeah. And for those of you that missed the first part of the show, if you want to go to WDJYFM.com in Atlanta, it'll be on there next week on Saturday at 10 p.m.
That's right. Or you could listen straight after this tonight.
Yeah, well, it won't be on the show tonight. Her show won't be on.
No, not on WDJY, but it will be up on
it'll be on YouTube
and all major podcast platforms.
I want to thank you, Constance, for coming on. I know you don't feel good today, but
we enjoyed having you on.
Yes, a really great job.
And I tell you, you had a lot of energy, so I would have never known you as under the weather.
Like I said, I took a whole lot of medicine. And I have a Pepsi next to me. That always helps. Always helps.
Yeah. Pepsi, Coke, Dr. Pepper. Yeah.
I do so enjoy talking to you both. Thank you for having me on. I really looked forward to coming on. I wasn't feeling nervous. Sometimes I get a little nervous because you guys, you make your guests feel so comfortable. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And
we try to just make it a friend conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay. I look forward to talking to you again.
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
we'll definitely do it again.
Yes, absolutely.
I hope so. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
That was awesome.
That is awesome. Constance Victoria Briggs. You can find her books on Amazon. The Earth's Galactic
History
and the Moon's Galactic History. That's two of her, really famous books that I think people would be interested in. And she has a lot more on there. Tons
of books. Yeah. I mean, she's done an encyclopedia of
encyclopedia, this, that, and the other.
Yeah. Think of angels and of all kinds of other stuff. She's got a lot of books, definitely.
And she is so upbeat. I love to talk to her.
Yeah. I love having her on. Always a good guest. And I want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight and listen to the show. Definitely, if you want to find us, you can do that at paranormal411.org, Paranormal 411 on Facebook, YouTube, and X. Remember, we are live every Tuesday and Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, Saturdays from 8 to 10. Also, Saturday night, happening as we're talking right now from 10 to 11 Eastern Time. We are on WDJY FM in Metro Atlanta area. That is 99.1 FM. If you're outside the Metro Atlanta, you could just listen to us at WDJYFM.com, or you go to paranormal411.org. Remember, we're on all major podcast platforms.
Join us.
Don't forget the book, East Tennessee Hauntings and Lore Edition 2. It's a beautiful book. That's a beautiful book.
Yes, we just had a price drop. Since Trump got in office, we had a price drop.
We did. We dropped that price a little bit. But you can find that book, East Tennessee Hauntings and Lore Edition 2. You could buy it. You could get it on Amazon or at paranormal411.org. Join us.
Oh, that was perfect.
That was perfect. It was almost like we planned it.
Hey, remember to join us Tuesday for a 1-hour episode. We may be talking about something fun, And then
We always do.
Thursday, we're going to try to do a live investigation again.
Yeah, we're looking and scouting out another
I
location.
think I have a location. It was a Civil War skirmish.
Oh, well. I'm good with that.
And it's open to the public.
So then it's another paranormal
It's
investigation.
right here in Loudon. Yes.
Okay.
We're going to do it.
All right. Well, then
But,
just look at that Thursday. And this time we may do it at 7 instead of
Yeah,
8.
it got a little dark on us there at 8 o'clock. It was pretty dark at 8. So we'll probably do it around 7 on Thursday.
Yeah. That'd be better. Our normal time.
We'll share it out when we get it all set up. But I want to thank everybody for listening tonight.
Yes. Thanks everybody.
And
have a good night. Have a good weekend.
Go see her website, Constance Victoria Briggs
.com. Yes.
She is amazing.
She's amazing, and her collection of books is amazing. And that's the truth.
All right. We'll see you Tuesday.
Have a good night.